Today, in honor of Indigenous Peoples Day, which is tomorrow, we dedicate a few moments to acknowledge that we are gathered today and every Sunday on the occupied and colonized territory of the Wabanaki, people of the dawn, and who have stewarded this land for generations. Let's take a few deep breaths into our hearts, opening our beings to great Mother Earth below and the mysterious cosmos above, as we listen to an Abenaki prayer. With we who visit ghosts from the sun star of our birth and in our infancy, which is from the land of the rising star, as long as the deer and moose shall run free, and the grass shall grow, and the rivers run swiftly, the Abenaki shall survive the white man's wickedness again. Our grandfather spirits have given us guidance and wisdom to rise and come together to dance. We have been taught to love Mother Earth and to respect her. We are the children of the dawn, the people of the East. May the Great Spirit and the Great Creator bless us and smile upon us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Everyone in the room today, and to those of you who may be on Zoom. And welcome to CVUUS, the Champlain Valley Unitarian Universalist Society. You are welcome here, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what your background. You're welcome to join us in community as we learn, live, and love together. If this is your first time with us, please sign the book in the lobby and you'll receive our monthly newsletter. Please also join us downstairs after the service for refreshments and conversation. Each Sunday service is a little different as we welcome two new transitional part-time contract ministers, the Reverend Tricia Hart and the Reverend Christina Silari, and lay service leaders from inside and outside our congregation. Since our office manager, Laura, was away this week, we decided as an experiment to have today's service without a printed order of service. Please let me, Reverend Christina, or Reverend Tricia, or anyone on the worship team know what you think about this. If anybody needs hearing assistance, in the back with Abby and Liam, you can get some wonderful hearing devices. If you haven't already done so, this is a great time to put your cell phone into worship mode. Yellow cards. If anyone has a milestone or a passage they'd like to share this morning, please write it on the yellow cards, which should have been available as you come in, and put it in the offering basket. My name is Becky Strum. I'm a member of this congregation and of the worship team, and this morning I am serving as worship associate for our interim minister, the Reverend Christina Silari. There are many pathways, in addition to Sunday services, to make connections with others at CVUUS. If you're new, you'll hear about them in our monthly newsletter, our weekly email blast, and in that printed order of service when we have one, and also on the screen. So take a moment to please check these. And the easiest way to sign up to be involved is to sign up online, and that information comes in the weekly blast. I wanted to extend lots of thanks from Marnie Wood for those in the congregation who donated to the crop walk And you still have an opportunity to donate, as I did this morning. Marnie is here, and you can see her about how to do that after the service. And now, finally, we have another important pathway to connection, our Radical Love Exchange, and Priscilla Bremser is going to talk with us about that. Priscilla.
Good morning. Good morning. So a while back, we used to have, like many congregations, we used to have what we called a service auction. And Johanna's here this morning. She will remember service auctions. And I remember, I think you arranged for us to have a real auctioneer here, at least once. Yeah, which was really fun. And people would offer things like dinners at their home, or use of a pickup truck, or rides to the airport, or all kinds of things that they could contribute, and then people would bid on them. And again, it was great fun, but we came to realize that it was fun that was unevenly available to people in the congregation, depending on how comfortable they were. Just keep raising their hand, offering more and more money in the moment. And so we moved to the new model, which is the Radical Love Exchange, and decided to turn the auction into more of a raffle kind of setup. So that's sort of the genesis of the Radical Love Exchange. And I just want to share with you one memory that I have of something that my husband Steve and I luckily won in the Radical Love Exchange, and that was snowshoeing outing up at the Harringtons, and by moonlight. And so we were in the woods, tromping along, and it wasn't too cold, the moon was bright, there were lots of kids with us, and you know, my kids are long grown, and we ended up at the Kolchic's, where there was a big fire and hot chocolate waiting for us. So those are the kinds of things that members of this congregation have thought up. So I hope everyone here can think up something fun to offer, and then look forward to joining in similar activities.
Thank you, Priscilla, for that. And many thanks to those who helped make this service possible today, to Richard Hopkins, Liam Batches Greenwood, and Abby Sessions, today's tech team, Martha Folda on the camera, for Zoom viewers and for recording the service, the flower buds for our seasonal floral arrangements, Mike Green. Actually, I saw a lot of the kids serving as ushers today. So thank you to those of you who did that, and also to the choir who are providing refreshments, and anybody else who I didn't know. Steve Butterfield, who was hosting the Zoom coffee hour, and anybody else who I forgot to mention. And now Poppy and Ronnie.
Good morning. Oh, nope. Let's see here. Nope. Okay. Good morning, everybody. I just want to say very quickly to address the elephant in the room, that hulking beast of a piano over there. There's two of them now. And before you ask any questions, I just want to briefly explain. The piano over there is actually my piano from home. I recently moved and discovered that it could not fit into my new apartment. So here it is, and I think it'll bring many wonderful double piano collaborations in the future. So stay tuned.
And I just want to say a welcome to the Crossing Paths RE group, who is here for the service today to see what they think of a full UU service, because often the kids leave after the time for all ages. All right, so this is We Shall Be Known. The words are up there, and it just has one verse and one chorus that we'll do once, and then we repeat it, so that's it. If you know the harmony for this song, or you want to sing harmony, go for it. I think that's it. This is from the group Muse, by the way, if you know them. Great music. Oh, thank you for asking. Yeah, rise and body your spirit. It's really good when people do things like that. Don't just stay polite and not say anything, because who knows what we'll do up here. All right. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now, it is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. Same thing. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now, it is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
Good morning. It's good to be here with y'all. Good morning to everyone on Zoom. Our call to worship is called Threshold, and it's by freelance writer Maggie Smith. You want a door you can be on both sides of at once. You want to be on both sides of here and there, now and then, together. And what did we call the life we would wish back? The old life, the before? Alone. But any open space may be a threshold, an arch of entering and leaving, crossing a field, wading through timothy grass. Imagine yourself passing from and into, passing through doorway after doorway after doorway. As Becky lights our chalice, please, or after she lights our chalice, we will share the chalice lighting words, which are by Reverend Summer El-Beati, and she is a UU Muslim of Iraqi descent and a Unitarian Universalist minister. We move in the liminal spaces that show shades of what can become what can be. We light this chalice as a symbol of courage to move into that time of this and that, and not this and not that, with patience and faith and love and hope that this time will pass, like the sun that moves in between rising and setting, reminding us that beauty resounds in betwixt and in between. Thank you.
So I'm going to do a picture book called Fry Bread. Fry Bread, a Native American family story. It is written by Kevin Noble Millard, who is a member of the Seminole Nation. The pictures are by Juana Martinez Neal. And this is also lifting up that Indigenous Peoples Day is tomorrow. And for the kids, the word indigenous, are there any kids who know what the word indigenous means? Are there any adults who know what the word indigenous means? Anyone want to take a stab? What is indigenous? Native to the land. So, and all land has, well, I shouldn't say all land. I guess, I don't know about like Antarctica, indigenous animals or plants or something, but, right, it's the people who were there at the beginning of people being there, basically. So, in our country, the United States of America, Native Americans are the people who were here when Christopher Columbus showed up and thought he discovered something. Just like so many of us think we discovered something, it turns out we only discovered it for ourselves. Everybody else already knew about it. So, this is a story celebrating the fact that we stopped calling it Columbus Day and started calling it Indigenous Peoples Day, which was the right thing to do when we did it way, way too late. Fry bread. Fry bread is food. Flour, salt, water, cornmeal, baking powder, perhaps milk, maybe sugar, all mixed together in a big bowl. Fry bread is shape. Hands mold the dough flat like a pancake, round like a ball, or puffy like Nana's softest pillow. Fry bread is sound. The skillet clangs on the stove. The fire blazes from below. Drop the dough in the skillet. The bubbles sizzle and pop. Fry bread is color. Golden brown, tan, or yellow. Deep like coffee, sienna, or earth. Light like snow and cream. Warm like rays of sun. Fry bread is flavor. See bean or soup. Smell tacos, cheese, and vegetables. Delight in honey and jam. Rise to discover what brings us together. Fry bread is time. On weekdays or holidays, supper or dinner, powwows and festivals, moments together with family and friends. Fry bread is art, sculpture, landscape, portrait, our daily craft shared from teacher to student, a cycle of heritage and fortune. Fry bread is history, the long walk, the stolen land, strangers in our own world with unknown food. We made new recipes from what we had. Fry bread is place, Alaska, Kansas, all the way to Maine, down to Delaware, onto Georgia, over to Oklahoma, Colorado, and California, cities and lands we call home. Fry bread is nation. Abenaki, Apache, Arapaho, Ojibwe, Onondaga, Oglala, Sioux, Narragansett, Navajo, Nipmuc, Seminole, Shoshone, Sac and Fox, hundreds and hundreds of tribes. Fry bread is everything. Round, flat, large, small, north, south, east, west, brown, yellow, black, white, familiar and foreign, old and new, we come together. Fry bread is us. We are still here, elder and young, friend and neighbor. We strengthen each other to learn, change, and survive. Fry bread is you. And now, I'm gonna leave with Bobby and Brett and the younger kids who this year are in a group called the Sparks to go over to RE and strengthen each other to learn, change, and survive. Yeah, and we'll sing. Before somebody else has to say to me, let's sing. We'll sing This Little Light of Mine, 2 verses.
Now we come to the time in our service where I don't think my mic is on, but I will, there we go. This is the time in our service for our offering. Each month we share our plate with an organization or nonprofit that shares our values. And this month we're sharing our collection with Acorn Hub Vermont, and this morning Neely Jennings, an Acorn board member, will shares her insights to this wonderful organization, and after she finishes, will you please be as generous as you are able. Neely?
Thanks, Becky. Hi, everyone. I'm Neely Jennings. I'm the treasurer of the Acorn board, and I actually saw last week that Acorn was the offering of the month, and I was like, oh, I was surprised, and I was like, oh, I could talk about this. So here I am doing public speaking, which I don't love, but I'll try. I'll just share a little bit about how I came to be on the Acorn board. About 10 years ago, I was living in Starksboro, and my local grocery store, the most convenient grocery store, was Shaw's in Bristol. And I had all these friends that were farming and sugaring and making jam and doing all this stuff. And none of their stuff was in the grocery store where I shopped, and I got really frustrated about that. So I started trying to figure out how we could make it easier for people in my community to support local farms. And we talked about starting our own food co-op, like the Middlebury Food Co-op in Bristol, but there had already been 2 health food stores that had gone bankrupt, so we didn't think that business model was gonna actually work. And so I figured out that we kind of had to go more upstream, because what we were hearing from Shaw's, if we wanted more local food in our grocery store, was that they needed more consistency, and they couldn't really handle getting potatoes from this farmer and strawberries from that farmer and lettuce from this farmer and maple syrup from that farmer. So that's when I discovered what Acorn was up to, which one of the big projects of Acorn has been developing this local food hub where farmers can bring their produce and products to one central location, and then wholesale sellers and institutions and restaurants and schools can then order from that one central location and get one order delivered or pick it up. So that would make it easier for the local food to be distributed. And so I don't know if we'll see all that food in Shaw's right away, but at least we're starting to see it more in local schools, and you can even order your own 20-pound bag of potatoes on the food hub if you want to. We have like orders due on Monday morning, and then you pick it up on Wednesday, or you can even have it delivered. So that's one of the big projects that we're up to. We also do pharmacy, which is a free CSA program where people get prescribed by their doctor if they don't have a lot of access to local food. We're launching a farmer climate network, which is in part response to some of the climate action plan goals of the Climate Economy Action Center, which I know Steve is a part of, and I don't know if Jean is here, and Richard. Other people in this congregation have been involved in setting those goals, so that's great. But I'll try to keep this short. So one of the things that we're really struggling to fund is staffing, and we want our staff to be well compensated, and we want to retain them, and a lot of grant makers only want to fund the programs. So to me, the programs are the staff. So we need a lot more kinds of donations that don't have strings attached to what we can spend it on, so that we can make sure our staff are able to run the food hub and do the deliveries and distribute those CSAs. So that's what we're doing. Other ways to get involved are this October 26th, we're doing an event at the food hub, so you can go check it out and maybe wear a costume. There's going to be a taco potluck. That's from 5 to 8 p.m. And then in November, at the end of November on the 29th, is our annual meeting where you can come learn more. We don't know where the annual meeting is yet, but I will keep you all posted. But the taco thing is on Exchange Street at our food hub. So if you go to the Acorn website, you can learn more about it. I think I will leave it there. I also just want to shout out Marlo is here today, our intern for the summer, so you can also ask Marlo if you have questions about what Acorn's up to. Yeah, thanks everyone. Support us generously this month. Appreciate you.
So last week, Reverend Tricia had us respond to the offertory in a slightly different way. I found it very meaningful. She asked that we stand and really look at one another. As we're singing "From You I receive, to you I give," and I think we'd like to try that again today. So Ronnie will play through a couple of times. We'll really look at folks and greet folks, and then we'll sing the words, which should be on the screen.
Thank you for your generosity, and thank you for being open to trying new things. So this is a time in our service, for those of you who are new, where we share, the worship leader, which is me today, shares milestones and passages, which some of you have written on these cards. So, Martha, this is a problem because you can't always read people's writings. Begins with an S. Sauce. That. I've had a hearing scheduled for my name change, becoming more myself every day. That's beautiful. Ian Ross, mourning the loss of my uncle Scott Evans on this past Thursday evening. Johanna Nichols, I bring deep thanks for the support CVUUS has gifted to the Montpelier Church to recover from the flood. Next Sunday, we will be back in our sanctuary. And Rosalie Cryan, am I saying that right? Please hold me and my family in the light as we are in a liminal space that requires much patience and acceptance. My eldest sibling, Kathleen, can no longer live alone and is entering long-term care. Namaste, Rosalie. So let's just take a moment to bring some thoughts and prayers to all who were mentioned already this morning, and anyone else in our lives that we know of that could benefit from our thoughts and prayers. And we pray that all beings find comfort and peace within their own hearts and from one another. We're moving now, if we did have an order of service, I think I'm making a change, we are making a change in the order of service, that instead of saying meditation, because when we do meditation in service, it's really not meditation, unless we did a whole service on meditation and actually meditated. So we're changing that to contemplation. So we're going to enter now a time of contemplation. So I invite you to, if you aren't already, to sit up straight and tall. Take a few deep breaths. And if you haven't arrived fully in your body, in this beautiful sanctuary, drop in. Drop into your body, your breath, using your breath as an anchor to connect with your heart. To connect with the great Mother Earth below. Breathing her groundedness and nourishment up into your feet and legs, up through your spine and into your heart. Awareness of the infinite cosmos above, drawing the energy from above down through the top of your head into your heart, breathing it in and sensing that vertical channel of energy flowing through our bodies, centered in our hearts. And from this place of heart-centeredness, let us keep silence together for a couple of minutes. And as we prepare for Poppy's song, this opening that vertical, that horizontal energy from our hearts towards Poppy and towards all the people in this space.
Oh. Hey, cast a long shadow, I know that I lie in it, and let it rule my mind from time to time. Escaping an old battle clings on like a vine to me, whispers dirty lies in my ear. And I know we didn't start this fight, and I won't let it rule my heart tonight. I can change, I can change, I can still change, I can still change. Tracing an old pattern, drawing the lines from where I am and from where I want to be. Forget that old adage, the history continues to keep us from a world we once knew. I am scared that I won't get it right, but fear won't rule my heart tonight. I can change, I can change, I can still change, I can still change. I can change, I can change, I can still change, I can still change. I can change, I can change, I can still change, I can still change. I can still change, I can still change, I can still
Wow, thank you, Poppy. So we are, without our printed order of service, we are moving on now to the reading. Things to Do in the Belly of a Whale by Dan Albergotti, an author and a poetry professor at Coastal Carolina University. Measure the walls. Count the ribs. Notch the long days. Look up for blue sky through the spout. Make small fires with the broken hulls of fishing boats. Practice smoke signals. Call old friends and listen for echoes of distant voices. Organize your calendar. Dream of the beach. Look each way for the dim glow of light. Work on your reports. Review each of your life's 10 million choices. Endure moments of self-loathing. Find the evidence of those before you. Destroy it. Try to be very quiet and listen for the sound of gears and moving water. Listen for the sound of your heart. Be thankful that you are here, swallowed with all hope, where you can rest and wait. Be nostalgic. Think of all the things you did and could have done. Remember treading water in the center of the still night sea, your toes pointing again and again, down, down, into the black depths.
Liminality. A suspended time of sacred nothingness is a secret desire I keep deep in my being. I am forever longing for liminal space, that space in between here and there and nowhere, where I no longer know who I am. This is how I grow and change. This is how I become more of who I am. As a child and young adult, liminal experiences were plentiful, naturally occurring in nature, at the Arnold Arboretum, when I climbed a tree and became one with it. With good friends, when we stared into one another's eyes for so long, we transformed into other beings. During sleep, when I would witness myself leaving my body and floating above it, sometimes I would spontaneously find my sense of self dissolving, my mind surrendering to some unknown field of energy whence I would eventually emerge transformed. I still have these experiences, but not as often as I wish. Liminal, from the Latin, means threshold. We can experience liminality in physical space, that uneasy feeling of being hyper-aware and uncertain, maybe even a little unsafe. Have you ever walked through a city very late in the evening, or just missed a train in an underground subway station, or been alone in a beautiful building or museum, or been somewhere strange in the natural world, somewhere where the space feels out of its normal context and purpose and puts you on the threshold of two different realities. This experience of interdimensionality is often used as a powerful setting for storytelling, beginning with one of America's first short stories, Rip Van Winkle. Some of our favorite stories portray the heroic figure leaving the safety of their home and traveling into a dangerous and bizarre otherworld. Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, Morpheus in The Matrix, Diana in Wonder Woman, Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, Jen Yu in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, all experience what Carl Jung calls individuation, a movement through liminal space and time from disorientation to reintegration. Our lives may not be as dramatic and magical as a book or a movie, although sometimes the world does seem like a horror flick. But this idea of leaving something safe and entering an unknown, scary landscape is something we have all experienced. Moving to a new home or place, graduating from school, getting divorced, leaving or losing our job, retiring, aging, experiencing the loss of a loved one, or being in the process of dying, the ultimate liminal space can leave us betwixt and between. We have left what was or was taken from us, but haven't yet inhabited what's next. When is the last time you felt disoriented or experienced a liminal change? Well, you all did last night. Sleeping is a liminal space we hopefully enter every evening. We may sense liminality in the early morning when we are floating in and out of sleep, or deep in the night we may be dreaming unsure of where we are or what is real. Yet as daylight calls us back into three-dimensional awareness, we re-enter the linear world of structure and form. 19th century Belgian folklorist Arnold van Gennep says there are 3 stages of liminality during rituals and rites of passage. 1, the ending of something or the separation from ordinary life. 2, embodying the margin or the limen, a state of limbo or the unknown where there is potentiality and possibility. And 3, reaggregation, returning to the secular or mundane world with transformed awareness or an altered state of consciousness. These stages also apply to regular life transitions that I mentioned. However, in the seasons of waiting, this crossing over space where we've left something behind and not fully in something else can sometimes bring up anxiety. As a result, and I know I used to do this, we may dig in our heels and avoid making a transition. We'll stay in the lousy marriage, wait a few more years before moving, put up with oppression from our employer, or postpone our retirement until we have more money. When we finally do enter the transition, many of us will try to get through it as quickly as possible, leaping to what's next so we can feel comfortable and sane and safe once again. I think this is a mistake. My experience of liminal space has been vital to my well-being, as it shakes me out of my habitual life into different realities and perspectives. Some native people call this crazy time, as this waiting and wondering can bring us face to face with our deepest fears about who we are, how we show up in the world, and where we're going. But liminal space invites us to surrender to the unknown so we can experience something new. It requires trust in letting go, allowing parts of who we think we are to dissolve, like salt in water. It means arriving in the essence of our soul, which is true and pure. There's a place in the soul where you've never been wounded, wrote mystic Meister Eckhart. There's a place in the soul where you've never been wounded. This is a sacred place we are all seeking. Let's find it right now. Can we go inside again? Let go of the thoughts, the self-loathing, the fear, the past. Can we soften our hearts and listen for the sound of our hearts? Can we ask ourselves, what needs to dissolve in me right now so I can sense the essence of who I am? Many of us entered liminal space a few years ago because of the virus. What a great teaching. You, as a congregation, are in liminal space right now, as your longtime minister is no longer with you, and you have 2 part-time contract ministers. we can choose to fight against liminal space and struggle and be miserable. Or we can flow with it by listening, sensing, and responding. Our transformation and evolution as a species requires us to enter liminal space time and time again, but our busy lives, technology, the media, and more work against this. Theologian Richard Rohr believes the unique and necessary function of religion is to lead us into this crazy liminal time. Sadly, this is not always the case. Instead, religion has largely become a confirmation of the status quo and business as usual. Religion should lead us into sacred space where deconstruction of the old normal can occur. The earth teaches us this. She knows in her wisdom, and she's been inviting us into collective liminality so humanity can transform into something new and sustainable. As the gathering song invited us, this time is calling us into question. This time is calling into question the very core of who we are, all our beliefs and practices. So how do we navigate this crazy time? Well, first we must make friends with liminality. We allow ourselves to have all the feelings of loss, grief, sadness, anger, shame, and we move on and out of that familiar negativity. And we don't settle for more of the same. And we send smoke signals for someone to wait with us in this space so we're not alone. And we write or sing or paint or jog or garden or meditate or sit with a tree. Or we look up for blue skies through the spout. We must stay curious and positive. We can find heroic figures who have survived challenging liminal spaces. And we can use this community to become friends with liminality by showing up and trusting we are enough, trusting we're not alone, and that we can find our way together. Because liminality requires faith. Faith there's something beyond our wounds and the wounds of the world. Faith that we are truly not alone, even when we're treading water in the center of the still night sea. Knowing we are held by something greater than us, something bigger than us. And when we take the time to pause and be, we may encounter this energy. And it's different for each one of us. It could be our ancestors. It could be the natural world. It could be God, universal consciousness, or humanity itself. So let us dive into these liminal spaces often and stay in them as long as necessary. Our time on this planet is so sacred. It is a privilege to be here right now because the old world is falling away and a brighter, more expansive world is being revealed. So we can't be trapped in normalcy. Without liminal space, we idealize normalcy, which is what got us into this predicament. So to live authentically, to create a new way of being with a healthy, just, sustainable world, we can welcome liminality, where the spirit of life is alive, where the holy dwells, where our souls are not wounded, and where freedom is possible. All transformation begins here. Amen, and blessed be. Our closing hymn is number 22. Dear weaver of our life's design, please stand in body or spirit and sing. Let's remain standing for the benediction. And if you're close to someone that you love or even like, hold their hand. So these words are by Patrick Overton from The Leaning Tree. When you walk to the edge of all the light you have and take that first step into the darkness of the unknown, you must believe that one of two things will happen. There will be something solid for you to stand upon, or you'll be taught to fly. Please be seated for our postlude.